Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobsta, the father of disinformation.
There we go.
Before we get into today's guest, a little reminder, sometime around the 30-minute mark, we're going to go live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. If you want to support the show and everything that we do here at Top Lobsta Productions, NDS Studios, we got a lot of stuff going on, right? That's Neph to America, Nephilim Death Squad, NDS Chronicles, Straight Bible, and now The Raven. We got a lot of work, guys. If you want to support, that's the place to do it. Early access to episodes, ad-free viewing experiences, early dibs on tickets from Bohemian Grove, or to Bohemian Grove, rather, as well as a little discount code off of merchandise from toplobsta.com. That's the place where you can find all of our designs, all of our merch. So great ways to support the show and also look psychotic while you do so. Really got an affinity for the mother horse eyes.
Yeah, we have to do our breakdown of that.
We do. It's just so labor intensive, and I just feel like we're just doing so much.
I kind of wonder what our guests would think about that.
I would love to know his thoughts
story.
on a 10-hour schizophrenic acid trip that a guy has where he goes to different dimensions. Speaking of our guests today, we are joined once again by Owen Benjamin. Before we get into the conversation, Owen, number one, thank you for being here. Number two, let's talk about where everybody can find you, support your work, and what it is that you do.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, man. What I do, I did stand up for 20 years, all kinds of stuff in Hollywood. And then, when everything started going down, I wasn't allowed to do stand up in clubs or theaters. You guys got to see that firsthand with Broho. And so I got more into podcasting, got into farming during, and now I'm writing a book called How to Slay a Wizard that I'm doing at ladle.tv, unauthorized.tv, and my website. I also teach piano. Yeah, it's weird. I don't really have a job title. I do all kinds of weird shit. You want to learn?
I like that, though, because you go like, he goes, yeah, I used to be, big into comedy and Hollywood and everything. And then when that went south, I became a farmer. I'm just like, damn, dude, what a segue. What a beautiful move.
I find myself in that same predicament lately where, my wife's friends she'll introduce me, my wife, and they go, well, what do you do? Because we know what your wife does. And I go, I don't know what the fuck I do.
I don't know what
I do a lot of different things. And
we know what it is when somebody says like,
I literally sound like a mobster. I'm like, I take care of things. I take care of business. I just, whatever has to be done, I do. It's like, it's kind of like when the mob guys are always they're in waste disposal. They're like waste management. That's me. Like literally right now, my kids are making hats that we sell. We make cheese. I have a podcast I do every day. I'm developing land. I run a festival. It's like I write books and I teach classical piano to children. It's like, and as soon as like the band's lifted, I'll do more stand-up comedy because that was like my main gift in life. It's like, yeah. What's my job? What's my 401? Like, what's my loan application look like? That's why I don't do loans because I wouldn't even know what to say. How much money do you make? Tons or zero, depending if people are.
Yeah, tax season is a damn nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting down there like, it was like, well, where did this money come from? And I was like, I talk shit into a microphone. He goes, well, how about that money? And I go, I sell T-shirts. And they're like,
what about this? This comes from racist tweets.
This is from my
I don't know.
Tweets.
I don't really know how to quantify this. Yeah.
Why did you get paid this from this guy? It's like, well, I guess I connected a lot of dots that helped him relieve trauma. What?
Yo, actually, just before, as you were talking to Matt, David walks in with like a check or something. He's like, we just got a donation from somebody. I'm like, for what? And he's like, we don't know. It's like, I don't even know how are we going to claim this.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to think about that.
It's just income. It's all good. Like they don't care as long as you pay them your cut. The government,
I guess that's what it is.
It's just income. They're like, okay.
Yeah, we don't care where it comes. Just give us some of it.
Yeah, it's like some old guy at a coffee shop with demons gave you money. Whatever.
I guess so.
We're gonna need half of that.
Like some people just have that feeling of value. Like it used to blow my mind because I was raised in a culture where like you don't accept money from people, and I'd be like, no, don't give me any money. And then people would be like, dude, if we don't, you can't do this for a living. You're not even allowed on PayPal. I'm like, okay. And then I just realized that some people are like, it's value. And I like to pay for value. It keeps the scales balanced. And I'm like, sure. And the government's like, give me part of it. And I'm like, okay.
Just keep it cool, man. Let me tell you, working with Owen was probably one of the most stressful things. Like, besides the cancellation, that was fine. But then it's like at the end, I'm like, how do I pay this guy? He's banned off every. He's like, do you accept dollars? Are you allowed to have dollars? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it becomes very
like,
complicated.
Do Venmo? I'm like, I can't do Venmo. They're not allowed. I'm not allowed to do Venmo. Do you do Cash App?
I'm like, how about bars of gold? Can we do?
Yeah, no, totally. That's why I'm like, I got into gold and silver, because it's like everything in the post office. Post office is true free speech. You know,
that's interesting. You've been talking a lot about that, and I can't say that I understand it. There's so many things I don't understand, but I've seen you really kind of give big ups to the post office. What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Why is the post office crushed so hard?
It's all, I mean, I got to talk about this a lot more if you don't understand about the post office, because it's like the fundamental of American freedom.
Jeez, really?
My dad worked for them for like 70 years. He loves the post office.
Dude, Benjamin Franklin started it. It's like the thing that makes America great is the post office, because all parcels, you can just send it to another human being without any oversight. Nobody looks in it. Nobody messes with it. It's cheap. It's, those stamps are actually like a bank. You can, like, just owning stamps is a curb against inflation.
Really?
I thought that was like an indicator of autism.
I thought it was too. Yeah. Especially when they're collecting them and they have trains on them.
Well, but other than, the post office general and the sheriff are the two most important positions in America.
I had no idea. I didn't know that the post office was so significant. I can't even bring myself to like mail anything.
I think the good thing about the post office is that they don't care that much. Like, they're like, oh, this guy's banned from Australia. This guy can't have these. Like, we don't care. Just send the mail.
Yeah,
just send it, rain, sleet, or snow.
And it's like, look at all this stuff behind me. Like, this is all stuff people like just make and send to me because they had to. I mean, it wasn't by choice. I was banned from like everything. And people are like, I'll just send you a letter. I'll just send you, look, I made this hat. Oh, I made this thing. Like, someone just like made this cup. They're just like, and then it just started, I started realizing that people, they could express themselves with their art or like things that mean something to them. And then I saw how gold and silver was retaining value. And I'm just like, oh man, there's such a scam going on. It's like these layers of lies on top of lies with the cyber world. Outside of it, it's still functioning perfectly. America's still functioning exactly the way it's supposed to function.
Would you say that that's the goal of the job of the wizard in today's society, to kind of like cast and spin these webs and spells for us to kind of, because I've fallen into this echo chamber where you look at Twitter or you look at some online stuff and you think that that's reality. But I think what we've been doing now, which was a good move, is now we're in the community a lot more.
Yes.
Like, I like doing the show in the coffee shop rather than at my house, because we get to walk through and you see real people from different walks of life, and you're like, oh, it's actually not like
everything's
that.
Okay. Yeah, that's not everything's completely okay, but that's an interesting concept when it comes to like, I don't know if that's going to be what we're going to get into, this idea of wizards and spellcasting. And I've said it on the show before. It's like, if you don't believe spellcasting in a spiritual angle, at least what you could do is look at it as casting perception. If you believe that sentiment of like perception is reality, well, if you can control the general perception of a thing, then you could effectively cast a spell and change reality, or at least the way that it's perceived. And if those two things are so close, perception is reality, then maybe you could change reality on some level, not at its fundamental root, but at least the way that people engage with it. Is that what you mean, Owen, when you're talking about wizards and killing them?
Wizards, the issue the wizards have with a living man or living woman is the same. It's kind of like we've been given the post office and sheriffs. It's like free will is the thing they can't change reality. All they like when they say perception is reality, like Edward Bernays and all those guys, all they can do is get you to choose something that goes against your interests. And there's a whole art to it. They can't actually do anything to you. And that gets into the relationship between, the devil and God, where it's like the devil can't make you do it. So that's why I'm like writing this book called How to Slay a Wizard, the Devil's Playbook, because it's like the same tricks over and over again. And it's typically giving someone the ability of doing something sinful or something they wanted to do anyway, but the wizard will give them a narrative to make them feel good about it.
Oh, that's
This is it's interesting because so our boy Matt, he does a show on the channel. It's called Straight Bible. He just picks up a book of the Bible and I'll talk to you about it. But yesterday he did the book of Jude, and the first 4 verses are exactly what you're talking about, but it's within the church. So throughout antiquity, they try to destroy the church by killing the people, and that doesn't seem to work.
It doesn't work at all. Yeah.
The best way to do it is infiltration. And in the Bible, this is also something that they don't really preach on in like a conventional church. But in that book of the first 4 verses, they're talking about like, yo, these guys say that they're your brothers, but they're kind of doing slippery stuff. And what they're really doing, instead of feeding their spirit or their soul, is they're feeding their bellies. They're feeding their flesh.
Yes.
In Margaritaville.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's 100% it, man. And like killing someone, I call blowing the dandelion, you know, where it's like when you're doing farming and you're trying to get rid of weeds, the thing you don't want to do is just like grab it and rip it out, because then all the seeds go everywhere. So you can't, you have to change the environment where they're in, or you have to do it at the right time or whatever. But with human beings, it's the same thing. Like force doesn't work at all. You have reward, ideology, coercion, and ego. Like those are ways to manipulate people. And coercion is by far the worst because it immediately creates a backlash that usually is exponential. And that's why in the past, the wizards, you know, have learned this. Like that's when the villagers chop all their heads off, because it's like, it doesn't work. So the thing is to get the person to choose it. And there's so many strategies. You know, like the last chapter I did at ladle.tv, and it's $9.11 a month. So you never forget.
Nice.
So you never forget. It was called, it was about, what was the name of it? It's like Folgers and AIDS. And it was Struthers and Folgers and AIDS. Oh my. And I go through, because the thing about lies is over time, they look insanely stupid. Like, and you guys have seen this with stuff even 6 months ago, you know, it's like something will happen and everyone that the spell's going on. And then like later you're like, wait a minute, what the hell was that? What was Oliver Anthony? You know, what was A Cry for Freedom or whatever? You know, you like see all this stuff. Go back to
Oliver Anthony kind of sang that into fruition with the EBT cards, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
He's talking about the yodels or whatever.
Yeah.
Now Saturday, I think that's over. So
very excited. Looking forward to, I don't know, them burning down my local Walmart or some shit.
What happened? Like they took away their Walmart cards?
They took away the EBT or the SNAP or whatever.
That's the big thing that's going on right now, is like this idea that they're going to take away SNAP benefits, or I don't know, you know, food stamps is the same thing.
That's interesting if they're doing that, because that means that they don't want them to like die anymore. That's interesting, because that's,
well, it seems like
it's everything's
this guy was.
So like the food they're giving them is to get them obese and dead, you know? So like
yodels.
Yeah. So that means they're taking their foot off the eugenics stuff. That's,
well, I was talking to this guy in the shop this morning who used to make like a spying, you know, sort of software that the NSA used. Or it was like an old dude that's retired here in the villages.
This is a weird spot.
It's a really weird spot.
Just about anybody.
And he was saying that he's got some guys on the inside that are claiming that the purpose of this is to basically turn up the pot, boil the water a little bit more aggressively, so that there are more riots and protests, you know, civil unrest and things of that nature. So who knows? I try not to, like, I look at it and I'll comment on it. It's kind of fun, but I recognize that the trap of it is to get you in this like low vibrational state where you're worried or you're fearful about a thing that's coming. So people are coming in the shop and they're going, did you know that Walmart is going to be shut down on November 1st because the blacks are going to steal from Walmart because they don't care anymore.
I've been stealing from Walmart this whole time.
This guy's been doing it, you know, every day. So you know, it's an interesting thing. I don't know what they're gonna end up doing, but yeah, that's supposed to happen.
No, you know, that's why it's interesting, because you know the average EBT user, I bet, is 100 pounds heavier, you know, than just someone that can't get enough quote unquote food, because the food you're getting is actually killing you. So it's like, you know, it's actually inverted. Like, for example, one of the wizard moves with AIDS was during AIDS, they also had a diet pill called AIDS. And I've named it polarity seeding, where you seed polarities. Cause sometimes like, I can't breathe masks during, where like George Floyd, the thing was I can't breathe, and then everyone has to put a mask. That, I think that's totally intentional, because during AIDS, you have in the 80s, and you have a guy named Greg Lou Gaines, like gay anus. That was like the main AIDS guy who hit his head on a board and bled in the pool in the Olympics. And he's this flaming gay guy. People just forget about this. And then Magic Johnson, which means wizard penis. Like Magic, Magic Johnson. It's like,
yeah. I never thought about that for some reason.
Enchanted cock. It's like, okay. And none of them, and they're all still alive, and it's the same guy. It's Fauci and everything. So while that's happening, you have these commercials where it's like, I just can't lose the weight. And this doctor's like, have you tried the AIDS diet? And this is dead serious. It's happening at the same time. It's like AIDS diet. It's like AIDS is a non-stimulant and you'll lose all that weight. And it's happening like the same exact time. And I think what happens is it's trying to get people into the state of nonsense where you're not trusting your senses. It's kind of like boot camp or hypnotism. And then once you're in that state where you don't trust your spirit, they call it the Holy Spirit, where it's like just that inner knowledge of like what is good and bad and right and wrong. That's when you can become a slave. It's kind of like a lobotomy. And so these are the ways that people get that way. And that's why like knowing who you are and not bending. And you guys have seen me do that over the years. And it's like crazy, the backlash, but it's like, the other option for me is way worse, where you're like, yeah, Joe Rogan's super tall. Like you just can't do that because then you lose everything, in my opinion.
They're doing another one of these fear campaign things. Speaking of Rogan, and he just had this guy on, Avi Loeb, and he's like a Harvard scientist, but he's kind of this doom and gloom character.
Wasn't that today? Like
the thing, yeah.
Harvard launched margarine too. Remember, and it's the same thing. It's like, do you want to eat butter without any guilt? Margarine. And then all these guys were dying of heart attacks at 45, and no one wants to talk about it. Anyway, so yes, Harvard is like, eugenics ground zero.
Propaganda machine, it is ground zeros for it. But he's got this guy on, Avi Loeb, and Avi is this, this Harvard, educated when he's like an astrophysicist.
Wizard. That's like literally a title of wizard.
Yeah, it's like a guy that makes
I do
up words.
Astrophysics. What does that mean? It's physics that you can't show that isn't real. It's in your mind. And you're like,
it's kind of the same thing with quantum physics. Quantum 100%. Physics, I'm like, you're just saying shit, dude. And I don't think that you know what this means. So Avi is saying like 3i Atlas is this big doom and gloom thing. Him, Anna Paulina Luna, she's a congresswoman, and they're saying, hey, there's this giant celestial object headed our way.
Wait, her name's Luna for real?
Yeah, Luna.
Wow.
That's great.
No, it's actually a fake name. Her name is something else. Yeah, she's a Jewish lady. It's
Damn it.
Yeah. She renamed herself to
Moon.
Fit in with the goy.
Moon goddess, divine feminine.
Yeah.
So they're predicting, and now this we picked up on it a few months ago. Been watching it because it's this endless source of comedy.
They're
right?
Like it's Ed.
Yeah, they're saying like the New York Post is posting articles like this thing we've just detected it. It's trillions of miles away. It is hostile, and it's gonna be here in November.
You haven't seen this thing?
3i Atlas, dude, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, endless source of comedy because you go, how on earth could you speculate and then put in this major news publication that this thing is hostile and it's coming for Earth? And they did this months ago, and now it's here. It's behind the sun right now, which is like this big nefarious thing that it was supposed to have done.
So
I don't really understand it. Every time I look at it, they're just telling us like this thing's going to murder us. And I'm going, where do you get off
that thing there?
Really?
They showed us there. Yeah.
Dude.
This was months ago, and they were like, "Do you see that? You can tell by the bones.
By the bones.
By the bones.
Definitely like gay sparkles on someone's wing. Like they do that shit all the time. They're like the pictures will actually be something funny.
Well, this is like even if it is real, it's definitively a time-lapse photo,
real.
so it doesn't appear as an elongated series of lights. It's one light changing colors, and that's a time-lapse photo. But they put that out there, and they go, look at this damn thing, dude. It is coming to kill you. NASA's like all worried about it.
Then he goes, at some point, like they were like, all right, maybe it's not so mad, but it's definitely going to drop off drones.
They said that. So this congresswoman and
Like,
this Harvard-educated... They come out and they're like, we need to get Congress to pay attention to this thing because let me tell you what it's going to do on the 30th, which is today, looking forward to it. It's going to release drones, and they're going to appear to us as UFOs.
So today, apparently, it's going behind the sun. Oh, it's great. This is so much fun. We've been watching this.
Great, man. They're like, dude, it turns out all they want is more taxes from us.
Like, you guys are doing a bad job with the pollution. the go green thing is a good move. I think you need to close the hole in the ozone. It's like this big fear campaign. But now he's on Rogan, and Rogan's like, oh yeah, man, okay, and like he's telling him like Abby's telling him like, you know, oh, this thing is coming, and it's the source of like this mysterious signal that was emitted towards us in 1977. It's been communicating for all of these years, on and on and on.
What year did they say? They say 77, or was it like 73?
So in 77, there was this thing called the WOW signal, and it was like this
Wow.
Well, I think everything has to do with the financial system. So I was just wondering if it's when we got in the petrodollar. Like,
I don't know. I mean, we talked to a dude named Jordan Crowder. This 3-eye atlas, the I stands for interstellar, and 3 is just the third interstellar object that's passed through our galaxy. And all that means is, like, since we developed the technology to detect these things, it's the best, dude.
Isn't it?
It's like everybody's getting...
Story? So back
Yes,
to like
please.
Victorian times. So the guy who actually coined the phrase photography, his father, you know, he was the president of the Royal Astronomy Foundation, like this huge astronomer. Like they have a telescope named after him. I forgot his name. But he said that with his new telescope, brand new, like this new technology, he could see that there was life on the moon, and they had temples, and they were Batmen, and that there was only
nice.
Yeah, there was over 1 trillion inhabitants, and it was in all the newspapers. And then it was like, this guy was like one of the heads of science, you know, it was like published in like the Edinburgh thing. And now no one wants to, just no one will talk about it. He's like, no, I have this technology that can see the moon. And everyone's like, holy fuck, what do you see there? And he's like, woolly mammoths. Like, they're just liars, you know, but
I love it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these people are like, you know, DARPA gives us this technology where no one else can see it. But right behind the moon, there's 3 Atlas, and it means that you're going to have like a drone army try and clip the tip of your dick again. You know, it's like, it's total nonsense.
Well, there are people that get whisked up in the fear of it.
Think about what they say is in the center of the earth. They're like, oh, it's a liquid core of nickel spinning counterclockwise. I'm like, dude, the deepest anyone's ever been is 8 miles, like total. And nothing they predicted was happening. Imagine if, like, I live in Idaho, you guys are in Florida. It's roughly, you know, a few thousand miles. If I'm like, okay, I've never left an 8-mile zone, but I'll tell you exactly what's thousands of miles away, and no one's ever seen it or been there. But I know because I have this box. In this box, you don't understand it, but there's squiggles on it. And every now and then it beeps. And so when it beeps, I know how to understand what that means. And so that means in Oklahoma, you have a cyclops. You know, it's like retarded. Same with, like, they're like, how do you know how old this fossil is? They're like, because of the sedimentary layer it's in. And you're like, how do you know how old that is? They're like, it's because of the fossils that are in it. And you're like, that's circular reasoning. They're like, oh, how dare you? You're a failed comedian. No. And you're like, oh, you guys are wizards. Like, you guys straight up went to fucking Hogwarts, man.
That clip that I was referencing is probably the greatest clip I've seen online in a long time. But the guy standing in front of a TV, and he's like, we know that this guy, like, he really took care of his young. He's pointing at a dinosaur, and he's like, well, how do you know? He's like, because of the bones.
Oh, dude, I love that clip. I showed that on my stream. Like, that's genius. It's like the bones. Genius. Yeah, and the guy keeps being like, but how do you know that? He's like, well, and they always do the thing where they're like, oh, I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. They like do that stance, like the science guy stance. And they're like, well, it's the bones.
You can tell by the bones.
Dude, it's like, well, I think the whole mountain's like a fucking dead giant. And they're like, how dare you? I'm like, it's calcium carbonate. It's the same. You keep telling me the bones, like that is bone, right? And they're like, okay.
That's why I stopped eating pink Himalayan salts, because I was like, these things might be the petrified innards of giants, and I don't want to. I'm not sure if I should eat this anymore.
I legit think a ton is that. I think that, you ever see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, dude. Remember where they're all inside the giant head?
Yeah, that was such a truth drop. They called it nowhere, which means utopia. You know, and they're like, oh yeah, it's they're mining a dead ancient celestial being. And they're like, it's chaos here, which is like free will, and everybody only gambles all the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
I was actually talking about this on the stream last night, where it's like somebody called in and they go, you know, the 3-eye atlas stuff is fun, which it is. I look at it strictly as fun, but they go, how seriously should we even be taking it, you know, just in the sense of we don't know what outer space is. And they're telling us, like, you know, this thing is coming from however many light years. The guy's like, it's coming from 3 light days away. I'm like, shit, we got light days?
I didn't even.
Do we have light weeks and light months too?
I will admit this though. When we interviewed that guy Jordan Crowder,
yeah,
I knew he was gonna come with that. Like he's like, well, because it's coming from outer space and interstellar. I was like, I'm gonna suspend all of my beliefs
and just listen to you
and
chat.
just have fun with it
all the time. Yeah, because metaphorically, there's usually something there.
Yeah. There is some. I was like, this was fun. And then after the episode was over, I was like, end stream.
Well, what he said was like, so the first interstellar object that passed through 2017, right after that, we start to get like the Pentagon saying, yo, dog, we recovered off-world craft. And so he thinks like there's a correlation there. The second one that passes through, which is Oumuamua, whatever, that one creates the lockdowns. And he's like, so this one is coming through, and we're all gonna spiritually ascend. Maybe is what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
What I think it is like, I don't know if it's actually a thing that's interstellar, but every time there is something that the ancients would see in the sky, there's like it indicates a change.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
believe in
maybe.
that. Like, dude, I'm into it. Like sky charting. I'm not like an astrology guy, but like how Topher is, that's like pretty legit. Like, and the Bible says, there's signs, you look for the signs, like they do, map the eras and ages in the sky. Like that's some real shit. It's just when they say it's like, it's 100 billion miles away and it means drones. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah. They're like that's what wizardry is. It's like, they know something that they won't show you. It's always hidden because alchemy is just baking bread. It's like changing one thing to another. Like that's fine. It's like wizardry relies on the ignorance of the target and they won't let you know. And as soon as you know, then the wizardry doesn't work. It's all based on hidden, and that's why I think they're gay.
There's a big correlation between your ability to fall for the wizardry, and you brought it up before, this idea of like being hypnotized. Like some people can't be hypnotized. I don't think I could be hypnotized. I remember when I was at like an 8th grade dinner dance or something. Even when I was a kid, they had a hypnotist there, and he hypnotized all my friends. I had friends barking. I had friends in like catatonic states as this adult man just manipulates the psychology of 13-year-olds. And but it didn't happen to me. Nothing happened to me, and I felt left out. But I also felt like you guys are faking. Like I was looking around the room, and I'm like, this isn't real. Like how come you guys are doing the dog thing and the chicken thing, but I don't feel anything? And I think there's something about your ability to fall for. Because let's be honest, if they're doing the wizardry, right, Owen, mostly it's like fear. It's a fear-based wizardry. They want you to perceive fear. It gets you in this state where you're easily manipulated. I think you're looking for solutions. They offer the solution. It's a little Hegelian dialectic kind of a dance going on. And so if you're susceptible to being able to be put into a state of hypnosis, you're probably also susceptible to falling for the big fear campaigns that they push.
Oh, 100%. And a lot of it is that you want it. So the fear thing will put you in a state of malleability. It's like heating metal so you can bend it. I'll give you a perfect example of what hypnotism is. So there's this one guy that was blowing everyone's minds in all these podcasts where he'd get you to hold your fingers like this. And he'd be like, hold your fingers like that. And he'd be like, okay, hold your fingers. And he'd be like, they're getting closer together. They're getting closer together. And people's fingers just start going like that. And they're like, holy shit. The whole thing is that it's tiring to do this. Like hypnotism also relies on exhaustion. So this isn't a natural way of being. So you just want to do that. And so when someone offers you a narrative to allow you to do the thing you want to do, you do it. Like that's most hypnotism is like, imagine somebody is socially awkward and they think that there's like a way that, like a lot of this is like quote unquote subconscious, but it's still kind of conscious where it's like bark like a dog. And it's their one time when they can just do something social, like in front of people and that, but they've been given a reason to do it. Like this guy's allowing them to do it based on this narrative. Same with where it's like a lot of people had these hidden angers towards their neighbors or family. They didn't want to go to Thanksgiving. They didn't want to go to work. They wanted to hide their face in public. They didn't want people to see how chubby their face got or the shame in their cheeks, So they're like, oh, this is a narrative where I cannot go to my father's fucking funeral because it's like, for those of us that didn't take the bait, like we could still do all the stuff. Like they were just playing in this make-believe realm where it's like, oh, with this narrative, we can believe this and go with it. It's kind of like the whole anti-Semitism narrative. It's like with that narrative, you can do horrendous things and control other people. But you're still the hero, because if not, you'd be a victim, you know, like these are just hypnotic spells. And so that's why in the end of the day, to slay the wizard is all about inner strength. It's all about the kingdom of God's within type stuff, where it's like, you have to just want not that. Because the time in the past when I'd say I could be almost like enchanted was with women. And if I'm just honest with myself, it's because I wanted that. You know, I'd be like, oh man, this chick, and she like put a spell on me. I like went back to her place. And it's like, yeah, because I wanted to. You know what I mean? And like the more alcohol you drink, that's another excuse where you're drinking alcohol and you're like, oh, I was so drunk. That's why I tried to fight that guy I hate, and I had sex with that girl I was attracted to. You know, it's like,
but you're looking for a scapegoat, a reason to give into that thing.
Yeah.
Dude, this is going to be a little bit of a weird story, and I'll make it quick. But like that idea that you want to engage in this thing, and so the hypnotist gives you the ability to engage in that thing, and then also the discomfort of keeping your fingers separate because your fingers just want to relax on each other. When I was a kid, I used to do that to people. I was taught a trick. I forgot who taught me it.
Matt, really quick.
Are we going to do this to the Matt Cam?
Yeah, we'll go to the Matt Cam. What was that?
Cam?
No, somebody just bought you guys these.
Nobody bought us these. Stop it.
Thank you.
What are they?
What was that scripture that you were talking about that we brought up yesterday that was talking about the soul?
Nice.
The soul wants one thing and the flesh wants another there.
Galatians chapter 5 and chapter 6. So
Thank you.
Galatians 5 says, walk in the spirit so you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Right. And yeah. So I'll show you this right now, because we've been getting I'll pull a couple big into the Bible.
Big into the Bible.
The Galatian letter is intriguing because Paul is saying, don't go back under Judaism. I don't want to offend my boy, but that's the whole context of the Galatian letter is do not go back under Judaism. You guys are going back under Judaism? No, bad.
This one right here. So the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another. And that's kind of what you're talking about, Owen.
Yeah.
That these things are like not.
He's a food forest guy. He understands spirit realm stuff.
Yeah. And another, like I'll give you another spell. So one thing that I battle now would be, you know, with all the great food I have, I can just like pound a half gallon of like fresh raw milk. I just milked. My wife is making pear crumble, but that like a spell is dad bod, where you're like, oh, it's fine. I can be a fat fuck. I can have a dad bod.
Because
all that is saying like you can have gluttony, you know. It literally is that. It's always like because like what do you want to get away with? And so that's why one way I usually tell if my morality is from the Holy Spirit or from me trying to trick myself is like, do I always like it? Like, am I always like, yeah, the thing I want is the moral thing? Because if that's the case, it's not the more, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to suck sometimes where you're like, I shouldn't eat this. Like, this is excessive. You know what I mean?
It requires like starving the flesh, not starving in the literal sense.
It's all flesh. Yeah, it's all flesh.
The desires of the flesh. Look, we're at the 33-minute mark. We have to kick out these filthy poor people.
That's unfortunate.
If you want to hear more about the desires of the flesh, you want to go to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Otherwise, guys, give it about a week or so. This will drop in its entirety. We're going to go hang out with the paying members now, the elites.
Which is a good thing, man. I'm into that now. That's why the wizard stuff is only on Ladle, because there's something about I'm not trying to call these people swine, but allegedly. Okay.
You can call them swine. You can call them swine.
I'll allow it. The whole pearls before swine, I used to always be like, yeah, but I want everyone to hear this great stuff. It actually isn't good for certain people. Like, unless they make an effort to like give back value, it can actually have the opposite effect on people. So it's actually like the nicest thing you can do is a paywall sometimes. I swear to God.
I think so. And it's also good because we have to, in order to exist where YouTube is, we have to be able to censor some stuff.
It's funny too. Like, so that the woman I was telling you about that I had the conversation with today, ideologically,
this is delicious. I don't know if this is playing outside in the coffee shop. Thank you to whoever bought us these. These are wonderful.
Yeah, it's good. But she's in direct opposition to our like my ideology, your ideology. But she listens to the show and enjoys it. And I go, well, why are you listening?
I love that. Though.
Yeah. And it's because like she's like, well, you challenged me, and now I'm like challenging back because she's like, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe you're stupid, but I want to know.
Highly likely.
And I'm like, all right, that's the person that I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to somebody who's just going to be there hanging out passively and saying like these guys are whatever or this and that. Like, she's invested. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's have a deeper conversation. That's the whole point of what what I'm doing at least.
Yeah, and she also sounds like she knows truth exists outside of herself, which is
huge.
like the whole thing. It's like, well, what do you know that I don't know? Or what do you know, versus the narcissist wizard type is like, whatever I want is the truth. It's subjective. Perception is reality. Like that's how they think, where it's like, oh, you're going against my will, so you're bad, versus like, I want us to figure out the truth more together. Do you see something I don't? And that's this fundamental of authority is outside of yourself, which is like that's usually what bonds people.
You know, I was telling that story before, that idea of like I said, the hypnotist. And I used to do this thing when I was a kid. I was in middle school, and I don't know who taught it to me, but I created a state of discomfort in somebody. So what it was I would have my friend lay on their stomach on the ground, and they would have their arms outstretched above their head, palms on the ground. I would lift their arms up, and I would say, let your head dangle. What that does is immediately causes a lot of stress. It's an uncomfortable position. The longer you're there, the more uncomfortable it gets. I would say, close your eyes, and I would weave together this narrative. I was a kid, and I had this horrifying story that I would tell people, and I would basically say, sorry for the listeners, but you're a dildo. That's your thing. Right now, that's what you are. Imagine yourself as a dildo. You're inside somebody. One thing, I'll spare you the details, leads to another, and an angry husband comes in, doesn't like what he finds, and strikes the stomach of the wife who's using it, sending the dildo out flying. Now, as soon as I set that narrative up and they're thinking about that, I would then slowly lower their arms towards the ground, but like really slow. And I would say, you're flying through the air, you crash through the window, you're up in the clouds. Dude, this is insane though, right? I would say, you're flying through the clouds, you're plummeting back to the earth. And as I'm saying that, they're anticipating the relief of touching the ground.
But they've already touched the ground.
No, they're nowhere near the ground because of the slowness. So now they've perceived their hands as, I say, there's a hole in the earth. You've fallen through the earth. So where they're anticipating the touch of the ground, they're still like 2 feet off the ground. Their arms are in the air. Right. So they think that they are, and these people, albeit we're in middle school, they're freaking out. They're like kicking and writhing around. They're like, oh my God. And I would slowly, so basically the whole ploy was, because of the tension on your arms, you're anticipating the ground. You want the ground. You want the relief of putting your palms on the ground. Yeah. It's nowhere near, and you're all messed up because your eyes are closed. So that gives this whole additional layer to the sensation. These people would stand up, and they'd be like, dude, I was there. I was flying through the sky. I was flying through the clouds. I went through the window. I was the dildo. And I'm like, that right there is like a powerful metaphor. Like for people, if you create like a stressful situation.
Dude,
yes.
And you naturally came up with that because you have novelty. Like the dildo thing is perfect for that example, because it's like, it's comedic and vulgar enough to get through another line of defense.
Yes.
Yes.
And so then somebody taught me the thing, but I weave the story.
Yeah. No, and it's like, that's why torture is all about, where it's all about uncomfort. It's discomfort. It's not about just like writhing pain. You just get people in a position that's not comfortable. And then over time, they're like, they just start submitting. They'll submit to get, like, they fantasize about that comfort. And then, was that exactly it?
That's
it
what
was
I'm
like, put
at.
on the mask, and then the uncomfort. And then it was like, the was going to be the thing to relieve your comfort. As soon as we get the mask will come off, you can go back to normal, because the uncomfort of not having a normal rhythm was driving people insane. And that's why it's all about your own inner strength. Like, that's why to beat the wizard, it has to be like your identity is not externalized. I was telling my lawyer a good trick to use for jury selection was just ask a potential juror, how do you get a cold? And if the answer is, because these dirty kids, I'm always around all these people and I had to go to work, that means they're externalizing authority. Or if they say, I haven't been getting enough sleep, I haven't been drinking enough orange juice, then it's internal. And so if you're trying to sue a corporation, you want a juror that externalizes authority. Like it's their fault. Yeah, it's like their fault that I got hurt versus it's my own fault. And the internal guy is much stronger. But if you want someone to pay $100 million for getting burned by coffee, it's like you want the guy that blames the kid on the bus for the cold.
That's a really deep insight into like a character trait that's a real dividing line, right? I mean, it's like
There's
two types of people.
Yeah.
Because I would look at that and I would go like, oh, well, what role did I play in this? Was I getting enough sleep?
I would blame my kid. I'm they're filthy, dude. I've been sick twice in the last 3 weeks, and I'm pretty sure it's because they coughed in my mouth. But yeah. So I'll be on the jury.
Because I always think like, what about the stresses that are like dinging my immune system, right? Like that kind of a deal is where I go. Like, have I been getting enough sleep? Have I been doing too much and running myself thin?
Yeah,
it's highly likely that I'm going to end up getting sick because I've been redlining it. Like that's
why I
typically
live
where
in
I go
Idaho.
first.
It's like if I get shot in the back by an N, it's my fault. So I'm not going to live around them.
That's it. Well, don't go to Walmart on the 1st because I think that's what they're doing. They're planning on. Have you seen you haven't seen these videos, dude? They're saying the craziest things. I'm watching videos of women in shower caps because that's the big thing. They wear shower caps outside, and these black chicks are going, oh, you know, white people, you used to be afraid. You used to think that we were going to do X, Y, and Z to you. Now, your fear is justified. Your fear is justified because coming November 1st, you know, once they stop our benefits, we're robbing people. This is what's happening.
That's a weird phenomenon because I don't believe them, but I feel like that's an extension of the wizardry, right? It's almost like
they're engaging in
wizardry. Oh, and I will say I do externalize some. I blame my kids sometimes for missing sleep. So I think it's always on a spectrum. So I just want you to know that I'm not like looking down at the people that externalize because every now and then I'm like, the fuck, I didn't get good sleep because he had to fucking freak out, you know.
Well, there is an extent where you do like you have to recognize when it is an external thing, but also if you don't take personal accountability for like the shit that's going on in your life, then you have no agency to fix it.
I think both things can be true. Like
Exactly.
again, like I said, I've been redlining it for sure.
Yeah.
I've been stressed out.
Been breathing acrylic fumes.
Also, my kid coughed, like open mouth coughed into my mouth, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sick now. Like, those things.
Dude, I mean, even sickness. I mean, think about it. It's almost like an offer. I think our body, when we see people coughing and freaking out, our body's like, okay, we should have a detox. That's an excuse to do it. Like, because I don't think viruses are what people say, but you know, I think it sounds exactly like J wizardry, like to the max. It's like you can't see. It doesn't procreate. It's not alive. We've never shown it cause anything, but it wants to make you sick. It's like saying firefighters cause fire. You're like, they're always present at the fire. So it's like, no, what if viruses are what your body like releases when it's sick, you know?
Like shedding season.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I believe in like bacteria. If you're around like shit, you're going to get sick. Like I'm not, but viruses have never been seen to do anything ever, like not once. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm not in.
It's strange because a lot of that like spell casting is around things that you can't see. So trust us. Like you can't see space, bitch. So trust us. And you can't see like microorganisms. So trust us. You can't see quantum super state particles. So trust us. And it's like, maybe that's like a real red flag that you should be looking out for. It's like when you have an unverifiable thing that you have to trust a governing body, an authority figure that goes like, trust me, it's like, you know, when you have to trust like the Pope, because the Pope goes like, no, dude, I got it under control. Like I'm king of the spiritual realm here. I'm second in command. Trust me. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff where I think that's your first red flag where you should be like, hold on, pump the brakes a little bit, slow down. I don't know if I should believe this person.
Yeah, it's like right here in the Bible, it says the opposite though. And he's like, I mean, the Bible is written for retards. Like, what do you say at that point?
He's like, I got a fish hat.
Here it says we're two or three gathered in my name. It's like, you know, it's going against the idea of titles and bloodlines and stuff. Yeah, and it's like, but my hat's a fish. And look, there's a naked kid on the wall. You know? I lost you guys for a second. Are you guys there?
Yeah, man. I think we're getting a little bit cut up there. Yeah, we're having, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Did you hear my hilarious joke about the naked kid?
Okay, there's probably I did, and I heard the fish hat reference too, and that really can you do me a favor, Owen? Go ahead and
I think that's us.
I think there might have been a latency developed because of that.
Okay.
So just refresh your browser real quick, Owen, because it won't fix the connection, but it will fix the potential latency. Yeah, man, that's an interesting concept though. Like this idea of spellcasting, you know, and wizards. I mean, I think that's exactly what we're being subjected to. Is because everybody thinks when you like, oh, you talk about spellcasting, you talk about wizards, Like, yeah, I mean, there's precedent for wearing a fish hat or wearing the robes or, you know, in the Star-Spangled Hat, like a Merlin kind of a dude with a beard. But I think that people can really get behind wizardry makes you like reactive, right? Because you think of fantasy films and such, but we're talking about manipulating perception. Like, that's a huge thing.
Well, this is what it seems like. This is what you're going to try to do with you're writing a book on this, right?
Yeah. How to slay a wizard, because that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of times you can't say it directly.
Yeah, so it seems like you're going to come.
Did you guys still have me?
Oh no.
Are the wizards doing it?
Yeah, man, we're getting blapped. We're getting blapped up by the internet here. I don't know what the heck is going on. But your book, How to Kill Avi Loeb, that's what you were talking about?
No, but it's like in literature, they'll use these metaphors to show truth, because you can't just say it directly, because one, people don't want to hear it, and two, that's how you like trigger the powers that be. Like Alice in Wonderland is totally about all this shit, but you can't really say it, so you have to say it about like people talking backwards and, you know, going into the underworld. The Mad Hatter, you know, a lot of these guys were dying of mercury poisoning. Like, you're doing like a critique of the culture at the time, but you have to hide it some way. Like Harry Potter is about the BBC, you know, it's about just Hogwarts is the perception management of, you know, the Western world.
That's interesting. It's about the BBC.
Yeah, they're
training.
training.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I just came up with the idea of the BBC, but just any routers, whatever. It's about wizards casting spells. It's called broadcasting. You know, my dad was a professor at this shit. It's called broadcasting. Okay, what are you casting? Like, you know, spells. It's called spelling. You know what I mean? It's like cursive. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's, you know, it sounds like fairy tale stuff. I'm like, no, but it is that though. Like, look at what you get when you graduate. You put a square on your fucking head and you wear a robe, and it's nonsense. So it's like, if I have a square on my head and I put this from here to here, that means I'm smart. That's nonsense. It's the same with like what a drill sergeant does to somebody. It's like, you get them to a degree where you have to look to the guy screaming at you, like, can I sit down right now? Do I have an ability of taking a piss? And that's how you get someone so detached from their instincts and their inner knowledge that they'll run into a machine gun and die because they want a little nonsense square on their chest. It's like, if you get a stripe, that means you're brave. That was like the whole point of Wizard of Oz. It's like this genius story about that. It's like the Wizard of Ounce, like OZ, you know, it's like the yellow brick road to the Emerald City of the greenback. It was all about in 1933, they made gold illegal to own in America. They replaced it with $1 that's green. You know, don't fall asleep in the poppy fields with fentanyl. You know, it's like, and so at the end, the Wizard of Oz is showing people, he's like, where I come from, you don't have to be brave. You just have to wear a medal. Where I come from, you don't have to, it's not about how much love you have for other people. It's how many people love you, and gives them this nonsense philanthropy thing. It was like a hard hitting satire at the time, where it's like an external validation for your qualities. It's not about, are you brave? Like, you can be a coward, but here's a medal of valor. And so once you're not looking inward and you're looking outward to define who you are, like I am blah, 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 like, you know, your identity, then you're no longer susceptible to the wizard, you know, and the wizard is real. It's like a real fucking thing. And so the idea of journalism is wizardry. It's like, what's a journal? How about if they called it diaryism? Like, we all have diaries, you know, it's like, that's what a journal is. You just write down your thoughts. It's like, that doesn't dictate reality, you know?
Well, it does, but it does though.
Well, it
dictates people's like behavior. Like, we are creators here in a sense that their spells don't do shit. If you don't believe it, I mean, look what just happened with Atlas 3 with me. Like, that will have zero effect on me or my life at all. And if everyone was like that, it wouldn't change reality. The whole thing is, hey, do you want to be a part of this crazy story? Because this happens all the time. Like 6 months ago, there was a fucking asteroid going to take out the world. Then people just, they forget. It's like they forget, and then they go on to the next thing because they just want that. They're like, oh, the ends are going to burn down the city again. It's like, okay.
It's interesting because it's like we've been primed for a lot of these like disaster scenarios, and then that priming through like whatever media, spellcasting, right, Hollywood, and all this crap, it creates like this almost longing for it, this desire for it, and maybe you couple that with the pressures of like this unnatural system that we're locked in, right? Where you work this 9 to 5, your wife works a 9 to 5, the state raises your kid, and you like kind of longing for the blacks to take over your town. I don't know. Like,
you're a dildo flying through the air, going down a pit. You're longing to touch the earth. Yes,
exactly.
That's
and
exactly
you keep that pressure on them, and that pressure creates that longing effect. And it's weird because you're externalizing authority, right? And you're looking for validation from these authority figures. You go through this public school system, which is very much about kind of like crushing you until you'll sort of assimilate and become a cog. And then when you're done with, middle school, high school, you have two options. You can either continue the slow boil, so you go to university and you kind of like, once again, bend the knee to higher education authority figures, and then you yourself might be able to become one when we give you this little piece of paper and certificate. But if that is not working, maybe your speed is a little bit faster. We can put you straight into the military. Well, you will be immediately crushed into that submission and handing over your own like sense of authority to another individual, and then they'll give you medals and shit and stripes.
This conversation really puts into perspective when you see it all the time online. They'll accuse Owen of being a cult leader.
Yeah,
because you're doing a thing, and I guess we are. Anybody that's doing like creator shit, we're doing a thing where we're influencing the people that are watching us. And I don't know if that's like, I don't know if I'm doing it intentionally, but I know that they are being influenced by the things that we say.
Yeah.
And the outsider that already has that influence is looking at Owen and he's like, this guy's a cult leader. And it's like, this is the reaction that you have to have, because if Owen is now breaking down, he's breaking your existence.
Your kind of power structure too.
Yeah, the dichotomy of how you operate, and he's building something different here. You have to then accuse him of what you're actually a part of. It must be very jarring for them.
And what's crazy too, dude, is it's not like
for him now. I didn't used to. I used to be like, I'm a culture leader. Like a cult is like, you don't let people leave. You're trying to fuck everybody. Like a cult's a thing, and I'm nothing like that. And then I'm like, yeah, what? Because they've externalized their identity so much. And dude, one of the Brett Weinstein even admitted that to me. He's like, if that's all true, then what's the fucking point of my entire life? I'm like, what are you talking about? Your life is awesome. Because I have that internal knowledge of like the soul and life, and that obstacles are a blessing and all this stuff. So sometimes I have a hard time forgetting that other people are like, if I'm not this piece of paper on my wall, who am I? And that's what Alice in Wonderland is who are you? And then the accuser, the devil, is always trying to get you to internalize an identity that he's creating for you. And then Jesus is the I am, where it's like, you are. And then that's, because the lies around me are so stupid at this point that the people that have known me a long time are like, what the fuck? Because they'll just be like, failed comedian, cult leader, stole land, gay. I'm like,
it's the same shit every time.
I'm like, dude, I'm a 6'8", blue-eyed, uncircumcised dude on the ADL hit list. Like, if I'm then they don't exist. It's like, no, I was literally my picture on the wall of the Hollywood Improv next to Chris Rock's. Like, I've never been A-list, but I was always super respected. Like, that's all blatantly false. And it's because they can't just say, yeah, maybe dinosaurs aren't what they say they are. Like, because their whole childhood is about dinosaurs or moon landing, where it's like, but, so you're saying my grandfather's a liar? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, how would you tilt up on the moon and have a phone call? And it's like, oh, so you're secretly obsessed. I'm like, dude, no, because as a comedian, you just see things like kind of what they are. It's like a natural paradox where it's like, that's why I'd be like, a white nationalist named Fuentes is super funny. And they'd be like, oh, how dare you? I'm like, dude, it's obviously funny. There's no way around that. It's like the Zach Galifianakis condescending illiterate, where you go, I've already told you, I can't read.
Yeah.
It's like funny. Like, obviously, that's a paradox. That's the definition of comedy. you know, a little gay guy named Fuentes being, you know, and I'm just like, I don't like, why are you guys freaking out? And they're like, this identity, I need that. Like science, you know, the science being settled is a natural joke. It can't be. The whole point of science is you always are questioning it. Like science might as well be called skepticism. Like there is no way to do like a vote on the science. And that's when you get into inversion. It actually ultimately leads you down a more spiritual path. Cause like, I mean, the demon realm to me is more objectively valid than these fucking space people. You know, like me and Amy were talking last night. She had an experience on a LA bus where she was like, you know, she was getting her master's at USC, but she was kind of aimless, and not having a path or an identity can be like a spiritually dangerous time. And she said there was this like super beleaguered homeless dude on the bus, and he just wrote like Amy on the chair and looked at her and goes like this. Whoa. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's like demon shit. Like there's no explanation that I can think of outside of like empty vessel realm fear stuff, you know? And so I might come across like this guy that doesn't believe in anything, but I do though. I think that like the unseen realm isn't viruses and fucking asteroids. It's like, you know, the spirit realm, which I think is a lot more objectively verifiable.
That's a lot of, so, you know, you put us onto Dr. Marzinski, and we've talked to him a few times since then, and he's a 50 man. And we talk often about, like, you know, obviously our audience is well aware. Marzinski has come to the conclusion that, like, schizophrenia, which he's dealt with pretty intimately in his occupation, is actually a spiritual disposition. It's like an oppression by something external to the individual, and not a broken mind or audible or visual hallucinations or like a chemical brain imbalance or any of that crap. That this is like an intelligence, a sentience, it adheres to patterns, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that they do is like this precognition, right? Where like they have like a little inclination. So Marzinski would talk about how, you know, some of the patients that he had that were schizophrenic would tell him stories. This thing made me aware of where drugs were.
Yeah.
You know, it would just guide me to a place, and I would lift up a board or get in a field, and I would find like a dealer's stash. And I remember being on a Reddit that was like, I'm schizophrenic, ask me anything. You know, it was like a dude that was schizophrenic, and he's just, you know, sourcing questions. And one of the stories he was telling that inspired other schizophrenics to chime in was about this precognitive aspect of schizophrenia, where like these voices seem to have some sort of ability to do some short-term predictions about like the very near future, you know, like little things that don't make sense until they happen. And one of them was like, this guy's on a city bus, and it's like, it's funny. It's like city bus just seems to be a great place for
stabbing a Ukrainian woman,
woman, demons, just demons in general. And this dude, he's like sitting there, and he's plagued with this intrusive voice over and over again, like the man with the yellow shirt, the man with the yellow shirt, the man with the yellow shirt. And this like just keeps happening to him until all of a sudden he pulls up to a stop. And on the bus, a man with a yellow shirt comes on and sits directly next to him in the two-seater. He's in a two-seater, so it's like the open seat next to him. And now he's shoulder to shoulder with the man in the yellow shirt. And these schizophrenic people are in the comments, and they're like, dude, let me tell you when that happens to me. And boom, 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 like this pattern just emerges. And there's this weird, like precognition aspect. So it is like it's an empty vessel thing. I think that's like one of the things it talks about, like inviting the Holy Spirit in. I think the way we're made up, like our constitution as human beings, like, you know, we have this physical body, and we have a soul, and we have a spirit, but there's also like, the way I kind of look at it is like there's a compartment within us that that's just how we come, right? We have like a void within us, and we'll try to fill it with all kinds of things. I think people chase that for a long time, filling it with all kinds of nonsense, but it's a spiritual void, and everybody has it. And you can actively ask for that spirit, the Holy Spirit, to fill you.
Yeah.
And you go through like ritual and ceremony, which I'm very comfortable with, because it's like, if you look around, this realm is ran by ritual and ceremony. They're doing things by candlelight. They're invoking spirits. They're using geometry. They're using chants and things like that. And then they're being filled with some spirit. So it doesn't strike me as odd that you would maybe go through like, let's say like water baptism or something like that, and go through this ritual where it's a declaration in the spiritual realm, and you're asking this spirit, the Holy Spirit, to come and fill you. Because if you don't, then there is this void, and you'll forever be kind of like casting things out, trying to Jordan Peterson clean up your room. You might be alleviated for a while, but even the Bible says, like, if you don't fill yourself with the Holy Spirit, then these things will come back with like sevenfold demonic homies. So you can cast them out for a time, but they come back. It's like if you look into people who have like witch doctor experiences, they're like, oh yeah, shaman casted this thing out of me, and I felt really good for a time.
Well, that's like,
and then it got worse.
You're talking about also just on like a smaller level, the emptiness of politics, which is, I think it's a big reason why I don't like, it's not that I don't like Fuentes. I don't agree with what he says, is because he's leading like a whole generation of kids down this like weird political path where there's just more emptiness. It feels like a solution for them.
McDonald's, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just fast food. And we're watching now him like gain promise, which is like, it's a conundrum for me, because I'm kind of like, he should have never been canceled in the first place. That creates what he is now, but the irresponsibility of the movement, or I don't even know if it's irresponsibility or Fed-led or whatever you want to call it, it's going the wrong way, and it's got a lot of power with it. It's got a lot of momentum, and we're like,
the way I see it is it doesn't, for me, it's all the pedo stuff, and it's not, people think I'm like obsessed or like that I care this much. I'm like, I'm just doing what I think is my civic duty. It's like this guy's talking about how he wants to have sex with Mary because she's 12, and he's always like, is that
true? Wait, I never heard about that.
Dude, like there's hours of, I put together montages of like, I'm pretty sure the dude's like a full-blown ped. And it's like,
well, I've heard that he does like catboy furry stuff, right?
I
don't really know like, Fuentes. Like, I don't.
When I talk about hypnotism, it's like, so he ends a stream when he was on Cozy, and it just starts playing gay porn that he's clearly watching, and he blames it on the IDF, and people just bought it. They're like, he's like, yeah, it's the IDF. Cool, it's like,
are you serious?
I swear to God, dude, it was like a thing. Like, he's like, oh yeah, this IDF group clearly did that, and there's no chance. He he talks about how kids are hot with Destiny. He's like, no, he's just pushing that thing. And so what I think is the Jews piss people off so much that people will overlook so much of his heinous shit just because they're like, but we got to stop this enemy. That's why our enemy is not flesh and blood is so important, because it's like such a trap to be like, well, we have to unify, even if we don't understand these people, because we have to stop the elites. And it's like, dude, it can always get way worse. Like, this isn't the end of the road. Like, I got my whole Hollywood thing was I couldn't unsee the child stuff, and I was very vocal about it. And, I was on a sitcom the year before I was quote unquote canceled. It wasn't like I was on my way out. I was like, if you don't stand up against child sexualization, like, you should just not be here. Like, what's the point of being alive? And I've never seen it as bad as Fuentes. Like, I've never seen like open pedo stuff, like the Ali Alexander stuff, where he was soliciting nudes from Fuentes' audience, like 15-year-old guys, and Fuentes was running cover for him and then defending like that behavior. And I'm like, that's like like post-Rome collapse. Like that, it doesn't really get too much worse. And so, and then the whole, like, he was canceled, like him being on the no-fly list for a year was because he threatened to shoot a flight attendant with a gun. It's not like him having his funds briefly frozen was because like a French national who just shot himself in a hotel room gave him 13 Bitcoin. Like, his funding is so weird that, people are like, where is this coming from? Is it, foreign nationals and all that? And then he'll just always spin it and make it like he's a victim. Like, he was canceled at 18. It's like, dude, I was a janitor. Like, what is he talking? Like, what does he think he deserves? And so, yeah, I think like it, and I think the whole quote unquote movement is like the hypnotism thing we're talking about, where it's justification for laziness, where it's like, I won't get married because women are all whores and bitches now. That's what he said on Tucker. He's like, it's women's fault. Okay, well then now you don't have to try it all to be a good person. It's like, you can watch gay pornos and jack yourself silly and still be a quote unquote Christian because of the Jews. You know, it's the Jews make you do it. Eats McDonald's, you know, all day long, tells people not to eat healthy. It's like, well, then that's like a cancerous little tumor. And for the people that are just like exhausted, and I get it, like Gen Z or whatever, it's like you're raised in this environment where they say you're bad because you're like a white male and everything's inverted and it sucks. And so finally you have someone tell the dildo that they can rest and they're like, yes, but it's worse. It's like, and when you can see how unnaturally propped up he is, it's not, you know, it's like most likes on the internet aren't people supporting you. It's saying, you agree with me. It's almost like saying, good call, I'm right. It's narcissism.
Right.
And so that's what a lot of people aren't actually supporting that dude. Like people that I see promoting him online, like they've texted me like, way to take down that little homo, you know? So I'm like, they just want to align with power because they think it's power, but there's no power in perception. It's fake, you know? And when someone sees through it or they choose to not live like a scumbag, like scumbags aren't powerful. You know, like people that don't take authority, people that don't try hard or work hard or like suffer for like something good. Like they're not a threat to anybody. They're fucking nothing. They're like dust.
This is it's going to be an interesting study as from my vantage point when I'm looking at Nick seems to have realized the moment after Charlie Kirk's death, and he's playing ball a little bit better than he would have before. And some of his hardcore followers, the ones that follow him no matter what, like these, you know, you've run into them online. His latest thing where he's criticizing the guy with the Nazi uniform, no matter how you feel about it, he's like, oh, that's just cringe, that's just whack. He's like, and some of his followers are like, I don't know. And now they're like fighting amongst each other because they're like, well, Dad said one thing and we're always supposed to listen to Dad, but now Dad is saying the other thing.
Saying he has a Jewish best friend, a Jewish assistant. He's
yes.
Yeah, because he doesn't, and I explained this to people 7 years ago about this guy. I'm like, he doesn't believe in anything except power acquisition. So, you know, I saw that with Alex Stein. Alex Stein was this hardcore truther. And then immediately when he's on Blaze, now that's all gone. And now he's like using that to launch his next thing. And I'm like, you know, my wife will say that these people don't really exist.
My wife.
Yeah, no, but it's a good way to put it, where it's like, they're not like real people because they're always defined by the external. Like you could see Fuentes with Tucker where he's like, I mean, these are my heroes. You know, he's talking about Trump and he's like, this is my hero. Like he's groveling, you know, he's like groveling before the king, just so thirsty. And he's talking about how like, and then you have the people in denial where they're like, oh no, it's 4D chess. He's like saying all this good stuff about Jews so that one day, I'm like, dude, he only wants power. Because talk about that emptiness, you know, that dude, he's made in a laboratory. He's an IVF little fucking scumbag. And I don't think he has a dick. So when you're like a dickless IVF guy, it's like your whole life is just trying to fill a void that will never be filled.
I will say something, and I don't know if this is going to sound like, I'm not boisterous, but I was telling you about it recently. And I like the guy that I'm talking about. But what happened here is Nick recognized the moment. He got the Tucker Carlson thing, and I'll probably get Joe Rogan, and he's smart, well-spoken, recognized the moment, played the part, and I think flawlessly from the clips that I've seen. So he's going to move through this space. I was offered a long time ago, Elijah Schaefer. I like Elijah.
Oh, yeah.
He invited me he was like, come and host the show. He was out of town or something like that. He's like, host my show and do this. And I was like, oh, this is like a fucking tryout. For
you're auditioning,
I'm auditioning. So I just said, okay, thanks. And I invited the entire Tower Gang, and we just like made it. It was retarded, but I was like, I'm not gonna. I didn't want that, but I was like, I'm so glad that I didn't do the job that I was supposed to do, because I was clearly like tapped, like here, do this thing, and then maybe host. And I was like, I'm not interested in doing that type of thing, and I didn't understand it as intimately at the time, but I think that that's what it was. And some people get that like you're never told specifically do this, but there are the moments where they're like, let's see.
It's a very similar thing that happened with with Stu Peters, who I also like, but I had to be like, I don't know what I'm doing here, because we were getting invited on Stu Peters' show a lot.
I like Stu Peters.
Yeah,
I like
Peters.
Elijah, but I'm just not going to do the thing.
Well, I'm wondering about like what is my role in this?
Like angelic schizophrenia, where it's like subtle, where just something kind of just nudged you, like just be yourself. And dude, it's it's not like a trust me, bro, but you guys know I've seen a lot of shit. It's the right move. It's like those guys aren't getting like just support. They're like they're only getting support from the fake world, and then and they're like over time it's just getting whittled away. Like, do you think anyone's ever fucking written Nick Fuentes like, listen, I disagree with you, but I feel like we can learn from each other, and that's why I watch. No. It's like junkie shit. It's just like it's human farming, dude. And it's like, you don't want to live that way. I know you guys would not be like, because they would say like, oh, we'd prefer if you didn't talk about like the Book of Enoch, it's a little, and it would just start like that, and then it would just keep going until you're just like, hey everybody, and then it's like fucking insane.
For me personally, there was two people with good examples. Owen, you were one of them. The other one was Frank. Quite frankly, and specifically it was the fan base. So the Bears and the Franklies, I look at them and I'm like, yo, these people are good people. Like, these are solid people. These are wholesome people. These are like sharp dudes. And they all just feel good. And there was a time where I was doing like timeline cleanse, and, I started getting kind of noticed for, like the loop or whatever.
Hey, it's a Christian
well, I mean,
show.
that's what it was called. And people...
Anyway, go on.
It is. You're gonna break that spell. And what that was just like how like black people will get into a fight and they'll say the same word over and over again, like "What's up, bitch? What's up, bitch? What's up, bitch?" And it was like an observation or an organic observation, but it became like kind of a meme. And then I'm making appearances on Stu Peters' thing. I'm in the documentary and all this stuff. And like I start garnering these people that are like, yeah, man, black people are terrible.
Totally.
Yeah, man, it's the Jews. And I'm like, no, wait, like. I don't like you. Like, there's a core group of fans of this show who I look at them and I really like them, and I'm like, that these guys are cool, they get it. But then there's these other guys that are popping up, and they're like, yeah, dude, you're my race warrior, and I'm like, no.
Dude,
and it's like,
yeah.
I feel like Michael Jordan in Space Jam, where they have him in the cartoon when he's on the mountain, and they're like, shoot the free throws, like say the N-word, and I'm like, I just won't.
Now I'm not gonna do it. And the thing that really gets me too is like when I look at these people. And I'm like, wait, you think that I'm aligning with you? But like, if you really, really get down to the nitty gritty, I'm not white enough for you. So like, when you really become full of hatred and you really think that you can externalize all your problems to like some other people group and they're the reason it sucks and you don't want to take accountability, you will eventually look to me and you'll be like, you're a couple of shades too brown. And then some of them were already doing that. And I'm like, no, dude, these aren't the people that I like.
I think that they want someone a little brown so that they're not in, because these are like total losers. So it's like look at someone like me, like 6'8", blue-eyed. Like, they don't want that. They want a Fuentes, someone that's from the streets of Miami. It's like, because then it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna say all this shit, but I'm not gonna feel like you're whiter and more Aryan than me, because they're insecure as fuck. They're like, if you externalize all your shit, then you don't want a leader that they're jealous of leaders. Like that's why they like little gimps, because they like that. They want to feel superior. They're just fucking losers, man. And yeah, the Bears are awesome. Like, when I did my festival this year, it dawned on me there wasn't one person I didn't want to like hang with and talk to. Like that's non-existent in the entertainment world. Like, most people want to get the hell away from their quote unquote fans because they view them as like cattle. It's like, they're a demographic they serve, and they come and they buy the merch, and and they're all getting the little spellcraft, like Steven Crowder. It's like, buy the Jesus little tight shorts, and you're going to heaven with a mansion, and you're gay and ignoring your fucking grandkids because you're a boomer on fucking life support. It's like, just give me the money and that's it. It's like the sale of indulgences. Like, that's what Luther was talking about. So it's like, who did the first blog? How funny is it that Luther was like a Reddit guy? 95 Theses. He's like, well, I just think that's kind of funny.
How do you deal with this with the Bears as you scale, because you're at a much larger scale than we are, but that's one of your things, like one of your topics that I find the most fascinating, where you're breaking down the deterioration of an idea or a movement as it gets bigger. And the idea for the thing is to get bigger, right? That's what you want. You want to talk to more people, but it gets diluted because you're just one guy. So what do you have you put any thoughts with what you're doing? Like
I've thought a lot about it. I mean, sometimes I'd get bummed, but it wasn't because I want fame or money. I'm like, if I'm not accessible on YouTube or one of these main platforms, like, is it just a slow drip out? You know, I've thought that and been like, fuck. And then fortunately, like, it's like the community's so strong that they can just rally and be like, give me all their perspectives and write letters and stuff. And what I've learned is the scale is what it's supposed to be. And that gives me a lot of peace, where it's like, it's just whatever it's supposed to be. Like, if it's supposed to be bigger, I mean, in the Bible, it doesn't say like the road to heaven is super wide. You know, it's like whatever it is, it is. And if you just think about quality for the people in your community and you just always serve them, there is a natural growth to it, but it's like word of mouth, or like, you know, someone springs up and does clips because he's really into it. Like right now, I got this dude at Quillabear who's just like really pumped about doing clips and getting people to check out the stream. And it's like, it's just like actually perfect. And sometimes I have that. We talked about that at Bohemian Grove, like the competitive athlete in you and stuff like that. And I have that too, where it's like you can't really accept perfect. You're almost like, but I gotta like tweak it and push this thing and do this thing. And you're almost like seeking chaos in a way. But if you really stop and think about it, like there's nowhere you'd rather be than just like doing your thing for the people who appreciate you, and you can support a family on that. Like that's like the dream, you know?
Yeah, there is a point of diminishing returns. I think I reached it and then had to step back and recover from it, because like you'll do something to a point where you're trying to grow this thing and you max out, and then I gotta like step away for a little bit. I'm getting tired. I'm like, should I even be doing this thing? We've spoken to Tony Merkel about it, and I think he's gone the opposite route of what guys like us are doing, where it's like his community's gotten so big where he's kind of like just hands off. And I'm like, that's
not just hands off. He shut himself off from it in a big way. Like, isn't that his kind of declaration? He's like, can't do community.
Yeah. He's like, I can't do it at all. And I'm just like, well, then what's the point of what are you doing here? Like, we're just gathering audiences. And I'm not saying he's bad or anything, but it's just like,
it's an interesting question.
It's an interesting question as you grow, because that's what we're trying to do. Like,
I think the question is like
access. Real too. I can see, dude, wizard shit is fascinating. Like how many of these guys, they see these huge numbers and there's no actual contact. It's like Tim Pool. Remember when he did a live event? It was like 8 fat girls. Like there's no audience.
That was
not
brutal.
Real. There's like, they don't actually have audiences, some of these people. And then other people have. I remember the biggest podcast I ever did, way bigger than Rogan, was the Impractical Jokers. And no one even thinks about it. It's like they sell out stadiums, and it's not even like people, they were like on True TV, you know, it's like, you don't even think about that because it's not marketed like that, you know, these, and I think I can see it with the Fuentes, where it's like Fuentes is marketed like he's the leader of like all the youth. And I'm like, it's just weird how I've never actually seen that outside of like Rumble numbers. You know what I mean?
I wonder if he tried to throw a live event, like if it was just Fuentes, he would say, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to get shot. Because
he's already done that. He already canceled. He canceled it. And I guarantee it was because there was no numbers. Like, it's like,
wait, did he cancel it? And he said it was dangerous?
No, he said he got canceled, and then he kept the money too. It was just shady.
Yeah, and dude, that was when I realized the dude was full of shit, because he followed me on Twitter. He followed like 300 people, so I know he saw it. And I wrote him this long thing about how to like buy his own piece of land. I'm like, if tickets are $400, you pull it together, 5,000 people, you can, like, if you have that, that's $2 million. Then you have a place where you can't be canceled. I'm like recommending like having no debt, because with debt you have to get insurance and they can jack the premiums. Like, I know all about this shit, and no response, and no one even wanted to hear it. And then immediately people are like, oh, no one cares about your cult or like your land scam. I'm like, no. I'm on my 4th festival. Like, it can't be shut down because you own it. And then it's community driven. And then I saw him say that he was losing all this money on Cozy TV. And I'm like, yeah, I know that it's expensive. That's why I charge for Ladle. You guys know it's like you have to pay for the back end. But I still make money on it. It's like, I don't think he really has supporters. It's like so much of this is smoke and mirrors. So if someone's like wants to be the Wizard of Oz and they're like, I'm not going to read comments, I'm not going to talk to the fans, I'm going to be behind, I'm going to be in my glory, you know, behind the curtain. And then they open the curtain and there's fucking nobody there, you know?
Yeah, I don't need a million people. What I need is like people who get it and people who I think are at least like being honest and not, because I think you draw certain conclusions when you're being honest. And for example, like hating entire people groups, it's one thing to like joke about it and everything, but it's another thing to mobilize and be like, it's all the Jews or it's all the blacks. If you're doing that, I'm like, you're not being intellectually honest, because you would come to much more reasonable conclusions than that. And I don't want you. So I don't need like a million people. I don't need like Nick Fuentes numbers.
But when you get to it, like when you get to a million people, then do you have to become the wizard?
That's a good question. That's what I was saying about access.
No, you don't have to become the wizard. You can just keep scaling. It's just like, there's really there's nothing stopping you outside of like wanting something that didn't naturally occur. And then you become the wizard, where you put on a persona to get a new demographic. And that always backfires. It's like, it always hollows out the authenticity of it. Yeah. Like, I thought Rogan had way more power and influence in like 2015 than he does now. And people are like, oh, $200 million, he's crushing it. I'm like, I remember like a lot of dudes that I knew and respected, and myself included, would be like all about listening to Rogan. I don't know anybody now. Like, he's in the cultural zeitgeist of clips and, oh, did you hear he's part of this thing? And he had this guy on, but nobody's like, they're almost like using him for like access to a guest or something. Nobody's like into, you know, like perception. They don't like the story now. Like, you guys' story is a great story. It's like it's a authentic and good story. And that's how things just spread organically, you know?
I used to listen to him for a long time, and then I kind of stopped because I was big into Rogan early because he was like touching on conspiracies. I was an early adopter. Somebody put him on my radar. It's like late 2009. So I was just 19 years old, and I started to listen to him, and I was like, oh, this dude's talking like somewhat about these conspiracies.
Yeah, totally.
Slowly but surely, he kind of like moved away from that, and then I still found like there was some educational things. Like, I will credit Rogan for, I didn't have like any kind of structure in my life or anything like that. He was the first dude that I ever listened to that made it sound appealing to implement discipline into your own life instead of like, you know, just moving through life like I was, because I used to be homeless and everything. So I had like no structure. And then, you know, I enjoyed this dude, but one thing leads to another, and it just felt, like you said, like hollowed out. And so I kind of faded away. And then like 2019 hit. And when they started raising the alarms, you know, the vid was on the horizon and what's going on, I felt like this dude was so off the mark that I couldn't waste any time listening to him anymore. And I had to like do my own research. And then from that point forward, I stopped listening to him. And now I look at him, and I guess he's the biggest podcast in the world, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I still bump into people that are like,
we're number 11 in Guam.
No, not Guam. Shout out Turks and Caicos.
People talk about your podcast and him. Like, I think he brought me up recently, and one guy told me, you guys have brought me up recently, and like 5 guys will tell me.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know, like those little things. And about you not being educated and shit, it's like, that's indentured servitude. Like, they just don't, wizard spell shit. It's like, you're buying someone that's $100,000 in debt. It's bondage so that they can't leave the job. That's the whole point of a college education. You put a fucking square in your head and you go like this. It's stupid. It's saying, I'm in $100,000 in debt, so that means you can hire me and I won't leave when fucking, you know, shit is bad. And so you're actually more free from your background, which is why this world is run by a wizard, you know?
Dude, this is what I brought it up, because I'm realizing quickly now, like we had a doctor call me yesterday, and he's like, basically he came on the show and he's like, in his location, there have been over 10 people that come to see him now, and they're like, oh,
that's awesome. That's so cool.
Because of the show. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And now I'm realizing, like, we could see the numbers before, like look at these numbers, and they mean nothing sometimes. Rumble numbers, sometimes they mean half of what they mean.
That means. Yeah,
but when they're actually in real life and they're reaching out, I'm like, oh my God. And then I realize also what I think these people want is access. They want access to us, is what we're talking about. They enjoy it. They resonate with it. I'm like, I don't know.
They want community.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could offer all that. Like,
well, that's why you have them do.
I'm learning.
Yeah. Like, I don't have people in my house. I'm like a hermit, you know? You just like, you can just be like, have meetups and just keep an eye out for gammas, you know, keep an eye out for like someone leading meetups that starts getting nuts. But it's just like, you guys go do like one festival a year. That's what I do. And we have just bear meetups where you got the Indianapolis crew and different crews, and they just get together and do stuff. Because if people are serious about going, quote unquote, against the Jews, but they never talk about getting out of debt, having children, getting healthy, they're not really. They're just like, they're eating McDonald's and whacking off. It's like, it's nonsense. So you don't have to really, like, it's like permaculture, like that dude that we were talking about before. It's like a food forest. You shouldn't feel like you're expelling your energy. It should be like supportive. So like, you don't have to be anything for these people. You just can be what they say is like a tent post, where it's like, they can all just kind of rally around and be like, oh yeah, I like that show too, which basically is signaling like, I can think for myself, you know, stuff like that. And then they just do their own shit and you don't have to do it, you know?
We have people that like show up.
You don't have to do it.
No, I mean, that's huge though.
I love that.
We're in this coffee shop, and like every day that we walk in, there's another person who's like, you know, enjoys the show and is just another guy that gets it. And he's hanging out. He's like reading the Bible. He's drinking a coffee. We'll chop it up. And it's like real people are actually coming here. It's kind of amazing to me because all we're really doing, and Owen, I think you're doing like a lot of the same shit, is like,
well, Owen's been doing it before us. And
yeah, but what is the root of what he's doing? It's almost like, that seems gay. Is that really true? Let's look at this. And that's really it. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, this sounds gay. This sounds a little retarded. Is this true? Because they're saying this is true. Let's look at it. And like, I'm not saying I know what the answer is. I'm not saying any of that crap. I'm just like, that sounds like bullshit. Maybe this is what's going on. Maybe this is what's going on. Let's have a look at it, because it kind of looks like this is what's going on. And that's just like the heart of it, you know, in a lot of ways. And then, like, you know, slowly but surely we came to like Jesus Christ as being this really central, important component. But I think even that still at its root is you come to that conclusion because you go like, what everybody's saying, like the general consensus sounds kind of gay. And I don't think that that's true. Does that sound true to you guys? Maybe we should look at it. And that's it. So when people go like, oh, Owen's doing a cult, it's like
the opposite. It's literally
Owen
the opposite.
just seems to be doing a lot of like, yeah, because there's no doctrine. There's no thing that you can't deviate from in what you're telling people. Really, you're like mocking things that are obviously stupid on the surface, right? And then, you know, it's just kind of, you're taken aback by the fact that so many people believe in this thing. And so, you know, it's like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's mock the parts that are mockable, that deserve mockery. And let's talk about what maybe actually is going on. And that's it.
Yeah, no, it's that classic satanic inversion of accuse what you are. You know, like, what I'm doing is the opposite of a cult. Like, people get mad that I'm not a cult leader. They're like, so what's the answer? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure that out, you know? And they're like, I have faith and this and that, but like, I'm not going to call it a fact. It's faith. And it's like, since I won't give them that relief of like, it's the blacks, you know, like they'll see my Wikipedia and come to me and think like, I'm the guy that's going to give them that relief of like, the blacks are the reason. And I'm like, that's not the truth though. And then they call me a cult leader, when all a cult does is like give you this firm nonsense thing that allows you to not have to think ever again. It's like a way to save mental calories. And I don't do that ever.
Yeah. I guess we try to keep it as open as possible too. I don't know if that's a cop out on my part, but like, I'm just kind of here to like listen and then say what I think. Whatever, people follow.
No, like what you're describing is like normal human behavior. It's just like we're in a world where all the influencers are so motivated by hidden shit that it seems like what we're doing is so strange. Like what you just gave me credit for is literally human nature, where it's just like, is that real? What do you guys think of this? Yeah, it's like that's literally how we're made. But now we're inundated by so many people that they act like they know the thing, and everyone has to act this way. It's because they're being funded by people that no one can see, whereas we're funded by the people that listen to us. So we're going to act human and helpful, and they're not. And that's why it seems like we've just discovered this thing. It's almost like if porn goes full circle, and it's like, oh, this fetish, it's like all about like marriage and pregnancy, you know? Where it's like, where it's like, oh, this is so like naughty and taboo. It's like, imagine just like getting a chick pregnant and like only her. It's just full circle. Like now we're these rebels that are just like, yeah, I like listening sometimes, talking other times, and just wondering what is true. It's like, that's our nature.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm sorry. I'm still like caught up on this idea of the wizard that you're talking. How many layers there are, and how many layers we are sort of like removed from it in a way where it doesn't even. Oh my God, it doesn't even really make sense anymore. When I'm looking at it from the outside looking in, I don't even know if what I'm saying makes sense because I'm just like,
What's that?
I'm trying to explain.
I was peeing. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to explain the idea of looking at the trickery from the outside. Because if you're gonna write about this, to people who don't understand from the outside,
oh, that's hard.
Like, how do you even begin to explain it?
I feel like you could only speak to somebody about it if they have an inclination that it is bullshit. Because a lot of people of being indoctrinated into like this fear-based perception.
Is the book aimed at bears? Is it aimed at people that get it
No,
right? Or are you talking to people that?
Yeah. The way I handle that is you frame it in the micro. You frame it in their personal life, like that feeling when someone talks in a way where they're manipulating you, and then from there you can fractal it out. Where I'm not talking secret societies and shit. I'm talking about like when someone does authoritative speech to get power, and you kind of know it, where it's like how long have you been so sensitive? It's like the assumption where it puts you in a false binary where any way you answer, you're accepting their worldview. That's a wizard. So it's like, and so
is that similar, Owen, to a good, like you ever been walking through somewhere and all of a sudden you get captured by like a pretty skilled salesman, and it's like no matter how you try to tell this guy like you're not interested, you're getting walked down this path, and then next thing you know, like they're trying to get you to sign off on paperwork, and it's like some people are really good at just being like no, but then other people
exactly like that. Yeah, it's like, do you want to round up for the kids? Like you go to the grocery store. Hey, do you want to round up for the kids? I say, do you want to round down for my kids?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. It's that. That's the wizard battle every day is not with like the World Bank. It's with people in your life that are doing manipulations. And it's like, and how do you deal with that with like humor and with knowing who you are and not having to seek external validation and all these things. But it's everywhere. And so that's where you relate. When people think something may not be right, a lot of times people might not, a lot of people don't have the time to look into our mountains, trees, like, cause I have all this time to do that, but they see the lies in their immediate reality. And so it's like how people are being manipulated. It's honestly like partially a handbook on dealing with narcissists. It's like where someone's definition of reality is whatever they want it to be. And then you see it in the big picture, and then you see it in the spiritual realm. And then you realize that these truths, just like, a riverbank or a river or like a nerve system, it's like all a fractal thing. And there really is no end to any of it. It's like what's true in the very small is true in the very large. Yeah. And like how a wizard deals with it. There's a chapter called Once They Know You Know, where it's like, because my whole life has been like this. Even as a kid, I remember dealing with
a really great way of approaching it, because it's very.
Did you lose me? Hello.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, you said there's a chapter called
I think it's called When They Know You Can See Them, because that's a major thing that happens. And then it's like ad hominems, like they attack your character, they accuse you of the opposite, whisper campaigns, but it can backfire really bad for them too. If you don't get like they're trying to get you emotional, unstable, and if you hold the line, it like falls away. But if not, it's like a pretty consistent pattern of behavior. It's like, And once they know you can see them for what they are, everything changes, because the wizard is always hiding behind the curtain. It's like once they see behind the curtain that he's this little man, there's no going back, and they know that. And that's why people can, like me, can be so exiled, because like everybody in that whole inverted pyramid knows I can see what they're doing. And then they just, like Amy would say, that I could go to I could be around people that don't even know who I am or anything. And within a few minutes, it's like all the snakes and lizards just start like acting weird. Like there's almost like a vibe I have where if someone's hiding something nefarious, they just start getting weird around me. They start like looking around, and like maybe I could have been a cop in another life. You know, I'm just like, I'll just look at someone and be like, what do you mean by that? And they're like, I gotta go. Like they can just tell that I'm like, no, but for real though, I'm not going to go along with the thing, you know?
Yeah. That's a really great way of,
But you're probably asking them uncomfortable questions.
You do that.
That's all that I do.
Yeah.
It's also because I don't present yourself too, though. Just how you look and act. They can tell. People can just tell, you know?
I think so. Yeah. People tell me that they're like, you're like this, you're like that. I'm like, I don't feel like that. I feel like, I don't know. They're like, oh, when you walk in, it's like you're like.
We have two different things, you and I, because you have a curiosity that asks, like, I perceive the person's bullshit as well as you perceive it, but I immediately determine it's not my job at all to deal with this person, to expose their crap. But and you don't look at it that way either, I would say, because the energy that you approach a situation with is like, so for example, we went to Suppress Fest. And you know we're there.
What did I do that? I don't even
remember. Dude,
remember.
it was so funny. So this guy walks up to me, and I've got like tattoos or whatever, and he's just like, "Hey man, nice ink." And like that never happens. And I look at it and I go, "Oh yeah, it's just crap that I got on my body. Like it's not something that I'm like super proud of. It's not something that I dislike either. It's just like I don't talk about my tattoos with people." But this guy comes up to me, and I can see he's got tattoos, so he's fishing. I didn't know what he was fishing for though. What he was actually fishing for was for me to just finish saying my thing so that he can insert his thing. Yeah. And what it was is he lifts his glasses up and he's got an all black eyeball.
Yeah.
And then he's also got this whole slash down his eye, like a scar down his eye.
Yeah.
Later on, I figured out, I was like, oh, this dude put a fake scar on his eye. That's weird. But so I go, whoa, man. Like, I don't want to talk about it with you, but you're showing me your eyeball now. I go, that's crazy. And that's where I leave it. But because it's not, you just looked at him and you went, why'd you do that?
Yeah. And that's the thing that really freaks people out, is not even being mad, just being curious. Like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Can you still see?
He didn't have an answer, though. He was just like, oh, I don't know. You know, it was weird, too, because I don't know why you present this thing to me. But I go like, oh, my God, how'd the scar happen? And then he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, what? And then he goes, they got my tongue, too. And he sticks his tongue out. He's got a forked tongue. And I'm so stupid that, like, later on I put together, like, oh, this dude did, like, a scarification thing. He went to a shop and got that put on him. But he's like, he wasn't prepared. I guess he thought, like, I was going to say, like, oh, that's cool or something like that or whatever. But when I asked him how it happened, he actually seemed like he was not prepared for that sort of thing. And when you asked...
He didn't want to talk to me after. Like,
yeah, when you said, why'd you do that? He was, like, not prepared for that sort of a question. So that's the thing that you have. Like, I don't have that. I go, don't care, actually, not interested. But you are interested, but you're interested in a more philosophical thing of, like, why, dog? Like, why did you do that?
Like, you don't even know what's going to set people off. Like, I wouldn't even think that that's a weird question. I'd be like, so what made you do that? And they'd be like, who am I? You know, they like their whole identity fractures.
Who am I?
And so what I would do is I started trying to be like pumped about shit that people were doing, and it didn't even help. Like in that situation, I'd be like, oh, dude, this guy loves Halloween, man. Tell everybody how much you like. Like I'd try to make it sound cool, but it would be even more condescending.
Yeah. Well, you can't hide it. I don't know, man.
You can't hide it. There's no point in hiding it. I'd be like,
Top
wow,
says that I don't like.
That's intense. I'd probably just be like, that's intense.
That might be what he's looking for. He's like, yeah, that's it, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
But like
Top says that I don't like confrontation. It's not that I don't like confrontation. I've had a life full of that. I just don't think it's like, I don't feel the compulsion, and thank God some people do. I'm not one of them, to like start dragging somebody's shit out into the light. And when I see like guys like you, Owen, or guys like you, Top, like you do a lot of that. You grab a thing and you start dragging it out into the light.
What do you mean by that? Like if you're gonna say this shit or be like this in real life or online, I'm gonna say, what? Explain yourself.
It's important though, because we're talking about like a Nick
good
Fuentes.
For them. Like it's literally, I like do this to help people. In my head, I'm like, oh, dude, this guy really needs to talk about this. Like he's fucked. You know, it's like, but in their head, they're like, oh, everyone sees me. And then they like slither and then they like try and get you kicked off PayPal. It's like, and dude, the people like that you do this. It's why you have support, because like, dude, do you ever have those talks with like someone close to you and it's intense, but then after it's like everything's better?
See, no, Top does that. You've told me stories. I'm a piece of shit. I don't do that. I go, not my job to fix you. I've got my own shit that I need to fix.
You're wearing denim. Like denim is like
it could be the denim. I think it lowers my frequency.
The conversation that I've had with him, and he's like, no, that's going to lead to physical confrontation. I go,
no, not that. I'm just saying I've been subjected to a lot of physical confrontation growing up. Like I've seen horrifying crap. My thing is I keep looking at myself. I'm like, I got my own shit to fix. Yeah. Not responsible for fixing your shit. Oh, I think we actually got lost there for a second.
No,
Owen, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I got you.
He's taking a long sip.
Okay.
I
that's my thing. Is like every time I look to somebody else's thing, I'm like, I know I have character flaws. As soon as I start doing this to somebody else, how long is it until they hold a mirror up to me and I have to take, so I just go, it's none of my business. I've got my own shit to do.
It's not about having flaws. It's about whether or not you won't like acknowledge what you are. Like if that guy was like, yeah, man, I just really thought it looked fucking cool, I'd be like, nice. Like I wouldn't even be like judgy. I'd be judgy like, why'd you do that? If he's like, man, I fucking love Dungeons and Dragons. I know it's a little gay, but sometimes at like fests like this, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I go back and forth. I'd be like, cool. Like I wouldn't be like, no, how dare you? I'd just be like, what an intense choice.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I'd love to meet people like that. Like if he made that decision and stuck by it and that was his thing, I'd be like, there are people like that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Totally. I know a guy with tons of tats and he's like, I'm fucking so pissed I did this. I have tats all over my body. I'm like, I hold no judgment.
Yeah.
I actually respect that. I'm like, yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that. They just don't say it. So good for you.
Oh, and I want to ask you something because I want to respect your time here. We're coming up on 2 hours.
Don't forget we have one final question, very important.
Oh yeah. But
cool.
As you we're in the stage where the wizard has sort of like revealed himself in a way.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're all looking at him. We're like, what the fuck?
He's got his trench coat open, his wiener's hanging out.
Even the normal people are looking at the wizard, but they don't quite know what to make of it. I don't think they can accurately call him a wizard yet, but they're looking at him like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
As he reveals himself, do you think that like we're in like a time of danger? Like, is this like when, an animal is caged or cornered?
That's a good question.
Should we be worried about like the physical ramifications? I mean, like on the heels of the Charlie Kirk thing, which is, I don't even know if that pertains, but like, how does a wizard react? How does a wizard fizzle out throughout history?
Does he go out kicking and screaming or what?
Great question.
Goes,
I mean, the wizard has to function on perception. So the worst place you can be is around people doing wizardry. So that's why being open about this shit is actually like a huge defense. Because I mean, when the wizard's cornered, shit gets fucking nutty, But like, so what are they capable of? The wizard is only capable of people that have chosen to be under their spell. So the more you are yourself, the more you're not surrounded by that. Like take Charlie Kirk. He was surrounded by vipers, So it's like he was given like $1 billion from the people that like fund war, And so if he's talking shit in a group chat, I mean, that's like being in that's literally like being in a cartel in Mexico times 1,000. It's like, those guys are super dangerous, but it's usually like, it's always like the most gang violence is internal and with other gangs. It's like not,
Matt was sorry to cut you off, but Matt was upset with me when we were live when the assassination happened.
Oh yeah.
And the first thing I said, it's the same thing with the guy with the tattoo, where I'm looking at him like, why'd you do that? We see Charlie Kirk get assassinated and we're like, damn, I don't know what to think about it. But then I go, hey man, this guy was surrounded by pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's bad timing. I will say it's bad timing because it was right after, and I was like,
is there ever bad timing for the truth though?
Yeah, yeah, there is. So we're not going to hear it though.
I think it's all good. Oh, that's a good point. If your objective is more people hearing it, yeah, there is timing.
But I was just like, hey, it's something that I learned being around here. Like, because now you're talking to people who are awake in this area, but still there are levels. And I was just like, he was taking money from a lot of these people, and he was surrounded by this. And how much did he know? And how much did he how much did he agree to? Did he consent to? I don't know. But then this happens, and it's like, man, it's horrific. And they're like, just died. His body's not even cold yet. And then you're giving his eulogy like this. And I was like, I'm just being realistic because they're going to deify him. And the realities is like he was surrounded by vipers. And I think he knew it. And then at some point he wanted out. And it's like, you just don't get out. You don't get out of that.
Get out like that. I mean, he got out I think he got out in a way that speaks well for his character, and I think he's probably doing good, because that's like when you're in that position, like, how do you get out? It's like in my position, it was like they took back the name and prestige they gave me, which is fine. It's like all debts are repaid, and I wasn't aware of what was happening. So I think that goes a long way. But the position those guys are in is pretty dark, and so the wizard gets paranoid and starts like in eating, where their biggest threat is around them. Like, especially when you're one of these empty vessel types that's doing, like, if you became the guy where it's like, finally, someone's willing to admit that they are dumb, like those guys around you are your biggest threat because they want power. So power is like seeking power. And so the biggest, I mean, the gulags in Russia were filled with communists. They were filled with like those guys. They eat their way up. It's like the Joker in The Dark Knight, where each clown kills the next layer, So the best place to be is just yourself doing a service for other people that they appreciate, because you're not in the game, So that's what I see. I think, and in the end of the day, the wizard doesn't have power any more than like a vacuum salesman. If you don't want to buy, like the Federal Reserve, people still want it. They want liquid money with no effort. Blockbuster had tons of Jews and billions of dollars surrounded by it. And people were like, yeah, we don't want to have to go all the way. And it was gone in like a week, because it's like our will is the whole engine in the realm. It's like where we, like what we focus on, what we want, what we do, what we say, who we are. And so in the end of the day, the wizard is always just trying to get us to accept something that is not true. And the most protection you have is to not do that. There's no way to reason with them. Like, you can't play ball to fight the big wars, because the more you play ball, the more you're inside the very thing, where then there's no way you can fight that war. The best way to fight the war is just encourage people to not want that war,
Talking to you, Dave Smith.
I reject the premise.
How's that dude doing?
I think he's doing good.
He's just out there rejecting premises.
I just think I think he's a little too close to it. Like you're describing.
He's super close to it. I mean, it's like him debating at that Charlie Kirk event, and then Charlie Kirk gets fucking whacked right after. It's like, that's intense, bro.
Yeah.
I texted him and I'm like, yo, dude, I had told him way before when he was thinking about running for president, and he probably is like, this guy's a dumb spick. And he's right. But I was like, hey man, I was like, you got kids, you got a beautiful family, you got like great comedy career, like presidency, and everyone else in the libertarian sphere.
Imagine being like, I'm going to be the head of the blood so I can shut it down. Like, what?
Meanwhile, you have like a beautiful life, and you're like, I think this is what I'm going to do.
But even so, like, I guess a small step back is just like political punditry, and I'm like, even that's too close. Like,
dude, too close. I think it's
also gay.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's your thing, I know. I'm biased.
It's a little gay.
It's a little.
Gay, I like Dave Smith, man. I worry about it because I'm like, I see how close. Like,
I like lots of.
I liked him last time I saw him in person, which was so long ago. But like, I don't like my perception of him, and I don't know how much of that is real or not.
Yeah,
I mean, like last time I was in person with him, I liked him, but like, I don't know. Ever since, I think I don't like him now very much, but I hope he's cool.
I'm just frustrated with the guy. I tried to talk to him about God, and he wouldn't. It was a non-starter.
Nah, he's a solid. He's a good dude. It's just I think online, and when you don't get to like have meaningful dialogue with somebody face to face,
Yeah,
you're gonna get
a little
And
cloudy.
it gets weird.
He's like a little bit of a cloud guy too, though. He's like all about these like big shows, and he doesn't tell the cool stories that aren't associated with the fucking big lights, And I always think that's gay. It's like you might as well just get on your knees and blow a guy at that point.
Well, he uses a lot of like debate language too, and I find that real gay.
Wizardry.
I don't like. Yeah,
That little
it's
fucking
wizardry.
black guy, I thought actually kind of won in the debate. And I know that I don't do that on Twitter anymore. Like especially when there's someone I kind of think is okay. Like I thought that the black guy did a better job. I just don't want to it's like you. I don't want to always fight everything. So I'm just like, when we're an hour and a half into a Patreon episode, I'll discuss, but like I'm not just going to constantly talk shit. But that calm black dude, I thought did a pretty good job. Like David brings something up and he would actually know the thing about it. And then David be like, oh, okay. I'm just like, dude,
Well,
remember that black guy? What'd you guys think of the black guy thing? When
no,
Dave
I was hoping that you would know the black guy.
I watched a little bit of it. I couldn't get
Who's
past
the black
it.
guy?
Coleman,
I don't even know.
Something?
Billy Carson?
No,
Coleman. His name was Coleman.
Yeah, he's like
Not
some
like
Zionist
the
dude.
officer fucking shill. Not that guy. I'm talking about this guy was legitimately really smart. And I was like, fuck, man. Like that guy did a good job against Dave. And Dave was like, well, I saw the memo with General Wesley Clark, but then it turned out he didn't see the memo and that they just do fucking
good.
memos all the time. And it's just like, just a bunch of facts where I'm like, interesting. And I used to play, I knew General, I fucking hung out all night drinking and playing Beatles with General Wesley Clark and his family. It's funny how these people, I used to be in that world so intensely, but I was the Joker clown that I think I kind of left without having to play the game,
That's nice. That's the way to be.
So that thing that he had with Dave Smith, where Dave Smith, there was a memo with Wesley Clark. He's like, have you seen it? Well, no. It's like a rumored memo. But I think the fact still stands. It was like if the memo said that you were going to invade 8 countries in this many years and then you did it.
Oh, yeah.
So it was it was a little bit of like the dude was very calm and Dave was flustered because now Dave has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to defend conspiracy almost. And he doesn't like to delve in that realm. It's like beneath
Isn't that
him.
the thing too, though? In debate, once you get flustered, like,
Yeah,
that's it,
yeah.
they got you. You got.
You're convincing the audience, but it's also just very gay.
My
the
whole
thing,
thing
too,
is to be like, well, the wars are to prop up the dollar that you need in order to get your 401k. So like, how deep into Idaho are we willing to take this thing? And that's where I got where I'm like, what is Israel? Like, what are the, what are the basic, what are they called? The first principles. Like when you think about like Aristotelian fucking debate or whatever, the first principles are like, well, what is Israel? Is it a place? Is it a people? Or is it like a narrative engine that allows America to bomb anybody that wants to compete with the dollar? Because without global dominance with the dollar, you can't just keep pumping yourself with cheap Chinese shit and fucking watch the stock market go up every year, which is unnatural, and nature, that's only cancer. So it's like, are you ready to take the fucking heat where you're growing pears or not? Because if not, it's like you're cutting off a branch you're standing on,
Well, then you're like now playing the game of politics instead of doing anything in your actual life.
Right. And it's like, oh, we give $7 billion a year to Israel. It's like, what is a dollar? And that's when they call me a cult leader. I'm like, my wife, we homeschool. They want a sticker. They want a fucking sticker. And they'll do stuff for any sticker if we like show that it has value. Now imagine if one of my kids mugged me and took the gold stars. That's dollars. They don't have any value outside of the narrative and the perception. So what does Israel do? Israel gets all the fucking neocon boomer types to be like, no, we're not killing the gold standard guy in Iraq or like the guy in fucking North Africa that's teaching everyone how to read and get in primary water. We're setting the place for Jesus to return. Well, the good news is my fucking Google account is going up too, though. But that's a side note. And that's all it is. So when I see these people screaming, I'm like, are you willing to accept that your house won't be worth 1.2 million? It'll be worth 300,000. Is that good enough? They're like, dude, that's why it was the great revealer. Watch everything just go down a little. And it's like the dildo flying through the air. It's like, give me peace, give me peace. And then the hypnotism is like, that. And now I think we're at the stage of hypnotism where they're going to want to actually take out some J's with Fuentes, where it's like, oh no, the guy at the deli, he's your problem. because he's wearing a little hat. It's like, no, the problem is your actions. You fucking blame women for not getting married, you little fucking pud.
If everybody just detached for a little bit too, you would realize like your problems still exist, and then they're like pretty much because of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you turn off the internet, if you turn off the TV, and you get rid of this perception that it's the Jews or it's, you know, the state of Israel, it's this or that or the other thing, turn it all off. Sit in your house without any sort of, you know, influence from the internet or whatever for like a month or so, and you'll find that the things that, like, you know, ailed you, maybe they've been alleviated to some degree. That might just because you're spending so much time on the internet and your psychology's all twisted. But if you had real problems, you would find they still exist, and they're probably because you've made a bunch of stupid fucking decisions.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just happened with me and my wife, little private. My wife. But yeah, it's like, you know, kids are giving us a hard time, and we're like, these fucking kids. And I was like, you know, now we're fighting, and then I go, hold on a second. Like, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. You're doing this, and I'm doing this. And it's like, that sucks, because now we actually have to fix it. We can't just blame
I don't know, dude.
kids.
Honestly, I think probably when it comes to that specific thing, I think it's a bad example, because I think that one is the Jews.
Oh, probably.
Probably
Yeah.
is the Jews.
Well, I think that's why I'm into child labor. Just hear me out, and then we'll end the plane.
Yes. No, please.
A lot of kids
I'll hear you
act
out.
certain ways because they aren't given enough tasks and like work. Dude, I got a 5-year-old making winter hats. Oh, how dare you?
Hell yeah.
When they're not like that, they can cause problems. They need fucking jobs, and they need to like expel energy outside. And that's usually the problem with child behavior.
I want to ask you one
If
final
you sell
question.
hats for a profit, I mean, that doesn't make you. Anyway, go on.
I was hoping that you were going to sell it's all profit. This is a question, Owen, that we've begun to ask at the end of every episode, and this isn't necessarily pertaining to our conversation here, although if you want to toss it in there too, that's fine. But in everything that you're doing, in all of your pursuits, and you know, you in particular, the life that you've carved out for yourself, are you having fun?
Yes. Yeah, like like I'm having a fucking blast to the point where like when I stop to think about it, I can't believe I get to do this for a life. It's like almost feels like a reward.
We've asked one dude that one time, and he said no. He looked at us and he was like, fun? And that guy was like entrenched in like, you know, what the CIA is doing, and I got the documents and all this shit, and I'm like, I like that guy a lot. But I was like, oh,
Was
dude,
it
you're
Ian
not having.
Carroll?
No.
I think Ian Carroll's having fun.
I think he is. You don't have a mustache like that and not have fun. If you're not having fun and you have a mustache
Dicks,
like
though.
that,
I mean, I feel like he's having fun with some dicks.
well,
No,
I mean, you know,
I think him and Candace are doing a good job, because that the fact they're actually covering something besides the obvious lie, I'm like, I give them respect for that.
people are mad at Candace for talking about like reptilians. I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Can we talk about reptile people? That's a nice departure from, you know, the state of Israel. I think it's really it's synonymous. It's a redundancy, but still, you know, it's a lot of fun to talk about those kinds of crazy things. I'm not mad at her for talking
Dude, if you
about
look
that. I'm
real
glad you're having
close
fun
to
though.
skin, like it does, it looks a little scaly sometimes.
It does look a little. It just could be a moisturizer issue. They need to, you know, give out the buck and just buy
Oil of oy vey is to hide the skin of the lizard, and that's why I'm quick.
Somebody needs to make oil of oy vey.
Yeah.
That's a banger.
Oh, and tell the people again where they can find you so they can go and support you over there.
Oilofoyvey.com. You can become a super chat. Ladle.tv is $9.11 a month. As you can see, that's the How to Slay a Wizard. And I also have all my Why Didn't They Laughs on there, over 2,000. The cartoons, like everything I've ever done pretty much. It's like the Smithsonian. And
Wow.
yeah, and so I'm on Rumble. I'm going to do a stream today at what time? 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also unauthorized.tv and courses.owenbenjamin.com if you want to learn piano.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. I got to get my kids on that.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
family friendly too, and it's like it covers a lot of interesting shit about music, because the vibratory aspect of music is it gets intense. It fractals up.
Yes. That's top.
Don't get me
shit right
started.
there.
Don't get me
Top
started.
shit.
Dude, I mean,
Oh.
it's like, that's all. Have you seen that dude Jacob Collier do the orchestra where the people become a choir? Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah, dude.
No.
He walks up to the edge of the stage and he starts
And
like
it's just going like
conducting the
this.
crowd.
Yeah, and it gets so awesome because like that like the Gregorian chants used to only do human voices because like the instrument would set a tone versus like trying to figure out what the tone is. And dude, a whole mass of people just naturally start finding the tone and it becomes insane. It like gives me fucking goosebumps. But anyway,
very fast. Like he starts running back and forth and he'll control one side of the crowd and they'll immediately adjust in real time.
Up and down. He's just up and down. That's what the old music staffs used to be. It would just be like up, down. It wasn't like all these notes, and people would just find it. And it's just like, it's really cool to think about that. Anyway, well, thanks for having me, guys. I've been here a while.
Thank you, Owen. It's always good talking to you, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. Great talking to you guys. Great show. Until next time, don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. We'll see you later.